Okay, so we've connected to MariaDB through HeidiSQL. Now we're looking to create a database. So database, just somewhere we can store a bunch of data. So hit create, right click this, hit create new database. This is the graphical way of doing it, using interface buttons and stuff like that, provided by HeidiSQL. There is another way which I will show you as part of a separate SQL video where we can create a database through structured query language and running queries. So the name of our database can be anything. Make it obviously relatable to the scenario, the task, the use of the database. So if I'm doing a database on students and student records, so I might have students database, or I might have a college database. I'm going to go with college, and I'm going to have a students table in that database. So what I want is Latin 1, Swedish, case insensitive is absolutely fine. You can go general, but Swedish is fine. So here we've got our college. You can see it's empty. If I was to expand that, it's empty. So our database is created. What we can do now is right click on that, create a new table. So this table is going to contain data. So like I said, we want to store the information of students. So we're going to have a students table. And in this table, we're going to have different columns. We might have a student ID. Notice I am not putting spaces in my column names. You can, however, it is good practice not to, only because it makes it a bit easier when we come to do queries later on. We're going to have the student's first name. Obviously, we're going to go with principles of normalization. Let's break down that data into as small pieces as we can. Student's last name, and finally we'll have, I don't know, the student's date of birth. Okay. So we've got our columns. We need data types for those columns. So we've got integer for the student ID. I'd accept that. The default, let's have it as auto increment. So it starts off at 0, auto increments up to however many rows are in the table. Allow null. We're not going to allow null. Null is just no data. The first name, well, let's have variable character with a string length of, let's say 50. That should be absolutely fine. Last name, variable character again, and the date of birth we'll have as a date. There we go. We're going to ensure that all our records here have data in them. All of our fields have data in them. We're not going to allow null in any of them. And maybe we can have a teacher comment or a student note field as well. And in there we'll just have a long text, so we'll allow a bit more, and we won't make it mandatory for comments to be put in, so we'll allow null on that. So, incorrect table definitions. There can only be one auto column, and it must be defined as a key. So, what is that? So what we need to do now is add our student ID as a key, a primary key. So up here, hit indexes, add, and we're going to just drag the student ID into this index and change that to primary key. Hit save, and you can see it sort of ran. If we were to look at the sort of query window down here, we had our error there because we didn't set it as a key. And then it created the table students. We can see the SQL structured query language that it's running. Okay, and then it's showing it there. So if I bring that down, here we go. This is the records that would be in that table. So we're in the students table in the college database. If I was to right click here, insert a row, ignore the student ID. I could add a 0, but it's just going to auto increment for us. And we're just going to have Peter Jones, and their date of birth is, let's say, 1997, and it's 0101. So the 1st of January 97. There we go. I can refresh on that. Student ID 1, there we are, row 1. This student note, we could put anything we want in there. And we could have Peter is diagnosed with ADHD. Just as an example. We could have student diagnosis in there, we could have anything we want.